the more we talk about it, the more I think I could see myself bring out the comedy would be, kind of always what I've envisioned is like create a show, similar type format to this. Like you have like a few people, laptop, you're going through a story, but you're just like joking about it the whole time. I like to play out people.
It should be that everyone's on the table. Everything could be joked about.
Sure.
That's what I defend, or I would defend. I would love to hear a little bit of your, I don't know, how comedy has helped you. Number one, I guess, deal with things. Yeah. And then do you see a role of comedy in even potentially as a way to continuously not, to like straddle the line, essentially?
Yeah, it's, I've been a jokester since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Most people don't know because I don't really bring it into my work.
It's not the brand that I would see if I were to, if I go to your Instagram page here, it's definitely comedy is not the thing that I'm seeing going forward.
You're not seeing it there. Sometimes I throw it down in the stories.
In the Instagram stories with the alpacas, you'll have a couple little jokes. Yeah.
From time to time. And it's like some people would say like, hey, are you being authentic then? Right? Which is a question I've asked myself. Like, am I being authentic by not including my comedy? But I'm like, it's kind of like this thing where I'm like, when I try it or when I've done it, it doesn't come out. Mm-hmm. It won't come out naturally.
And it doesn't translate as well.
Right. And so what ends up happening is, like, for example, there was a period of time and I'm still learning more about a guy like JP Sears, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But there's a period of time where I'm like I knew what he started as.
Yeah.
Right. Like what type of work he was doing. And then when he started to create the ultra spiritual stuff and all that sort of stuff, I was like, wait a minute. Is he making fun of it, or is he like, it was like confusing. And I to be honest, I think he was confused, but I think he's very similar to myself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see myself and him in a lot of ways where he's, like behind the scenes, like if people knew the shit that I was doing, like the jokes that I was making all day long, you'd ask Ruby, it's like, they think I was fucking ridiculous, but
totally.
But it's like, I don't know. I part of me just, it won't come out in the work. And I also, I don't want it to.
Yeah.
There's
because then it removes the seriousness of the topic sometimes.
Or like there's that, but it does something.
Yeah.
Even without it being serious, because sometimes I can be lighthearted about the topic I'm talking about.
Sure.
But but comedy doesn't come out. Yeah. There was a show I was doing with Marc Coppola for a little while called These Guys.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
There was quite a bit. It was kind of a comedic outlet, and I've been wanting to bring the show back for quite a while, because basically what we did was just kind of rapid fire like 3 topics, and there was like, it was just fucking ridiculous. Like we'd throw up like flags and shit when you needed more time, and it was very fast paced. There was a timer like kicking you on, trying to get everything going, and it was
part
just
of you like the
joke
format.
filled. I love the format. I like the jokes. Me and him play off each other extremely well. Mm-hmm. So it was like, and then we'd have skits in between topics. Like we'd like go film like a stupid skit where like we're doing something ridiculous. But I enjoyed that stuff, and I want to do it. Like sometimes I walk around, I'll go to the shed, I'll get hay, and then I'll walk it out to the alpacas, and like I'm smiling along the way because jokes go through my head 24/7. Like whole skits will play out in my head. Yeah. If I just had an outlet to create them
in the same
quickly,
way
it would be like, man, there'd be so many comical ideas. Like Ruby sees me all the time, like, what are you laughing about now?
She knows.
Oh my God. It's like, don't worry. But it's like literally like 20, 30 times a day. Like there's jokes full on. Like
I've gotten to know you. This is a very real statement.
And so it's kind of like, I don't know. Do I do something? I mean, I don't really have the time, or I don't make the time. That's a better way of saying it. But it's like, I don't make the time to do it. But comedy for me is like, I've just always been a lighthearted character. My teachers, like, I was very shy in school because like once I hit grade 5 and I started to actually tell people, I'm like, I wrote this in a recent article I wrote. By grade 5, I was starting to tell my friends, like, hey guys, I think school's brainwashing, right? Like I for some reason, this just feels like it's brainwashed. I don't know why, but it does. I didn't have the answer and I didn't know what else to say, but that's how it felt.
That's how it felt, yeah.
And then I became pretty introverted after that. I was like a class clown at the very beginning. Yeah. But then there was a point where I started to become uncomfortable in school, and then like I was made fun of, and then lots of different little things happened over the course of time, and kind of went introverted a little bit. And then I don't remember where I was going with this, but it was like,
just the role of comedy, and it's constantly running through.
And so I've always joked around with my friends. I've always been the source of comedy around. I never like drank much growing up. I never really smoked weed pretty much at all. But I was the guy that sat around the campfire with everybody who was high and just made them laugh the whole time, right?
Yep.
So it was like, I want to continue that, but part of me is like, maybe my comedy is just meant to be appreciated amongst people and not necessarily on a vidya.
I get it. I think I get it. I just think it's a good, for me, it feels like therapy when I hear you joke.
Yeesh.
Like for me, because if I were to just see the elements of, or just see what like kind of CE puts out in certain moments, I would, sometimes it's almost like it would make me feel like maybe life is a little bit more serious than it needs to be.
Right.
And not even just because it's talking about like things that are scary and like make me question my whole reality, but sometimes even just like even personal development can get like really like, okay.
Oh yeah. People can get neurotic about it too.
Yeah. And then it's like a holier than thou thing going on. And there's like almost like levels to to spirituality, and I'm holier than you. And and they don't say that, but they are saying that.
Yeah.
And so there's comedy kind of breaks elements of that tension.
Cuts through it,
and it just becomes a way of dealing with, just the quote unquote, the perceived seriousness of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in that way, sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I could just throw it in there more.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know.
I mean, it's a curiosity it's a curiosity. I'll say here's what I'll say. It's a curiosity that I feel more and more inclined to listen to. Yeah. Even in the news or the information that I'm like receiving.
Right.
Because like I said, like Babylon Bee still tells me, it makes a joke about a position from a particular side, and that's very interesting.
Yeah.
I find that so, like, that's a fine line. That's a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
And so I see the art of that storytelling, and I see it as a potential, and this is a kind of more serious approach to this. I actually see it as like a keyhole through a door that's slamming shut.
Right.
And the door that I'm referring to here, and this is, we'll wrap up our, where we started from, is like, what can we say and can't we say?
Right.
And the keyhole that I'm referring to here is that comedy allows me to say a lot of things.
Yeah. More things for sure. Yeah.
More things.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm not having that, if I don't have the comedic spin on it, that door might shut.
Yeah.
It's not unheard of that collective evolution could be wiped off the face of the internet tomorrow.
Sure.
And that's like many people's jobs and many people's, for other people, sorts of inspiration or motivation or of questions or thoughts or personal development. There's a lot of people who would be sad about that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's to be downplayed the role that even your work, whether it reached millions of people in particular moments or it's reaching a few hundred people, how that impacts and then invites others to start making and questioning and make the next collective evolution and the next, version of questioning things and personal development and growth and their entrepreneurial or spiritual or personal path.
Yeah.
But I just see that I just worry, I guess, is a better way of saying it. Yeah. I just worry that sometimes the door is shutting, and maybe one of the ways through it is comedy.
Yeah, it's a
thought.
Valid thought. Yeah, definitely a valid thought. I think the more we talk about it, the more I think I could see myself bring out the comedy would be, kind of always what I've envisioned is like create a show, similar type of format to this. Like you have like a few people, laptop, you're going through a story, but you're just like joking about it the whole time. I like to play off people.